I'm sorry, I forgot to start the recording earlier for those who maybe. Here we are, we're in triangle. What happens when you reach your two hands away from each other? And then with your next inhale, go ahead and rise up. And make the feet parallel, step or hop the feet back to center. Great. Inhale, lift both arms. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. Again, inhale, lift both arms. Exhale, your hands back in front of your heart. One more time. Lifting the arms, reaching into the ground, lengthening through the sides. Maybe lifting the gaze. And exhale, bringing the hands back in front of your heart. Relaxing both arms. And we're going to move into a sun salutation. So you can take your blocks at the top of your yoga mat. Bring the hands in front of the heart. Traveling, so you can just take a moment, that whole analogy of like traveling down the river. At that point where we enter the ocean. So there could be many different sizes rivers, right? We might go out to the Oregon coast, and we know there are small streams that come into the ocean, and there's huge rivers that enter the ocean. This is going on all the time. And just like the waves come in, and they go out, just like the breath. And the tides. So noticing the breath. Moving with the breath. As you move through these next postures we're doing, let the breath lead you. My voice will say things, but stay connected to the rhythm of your breathing. All right, release your hands. Inhale, lift both arms. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, right foot back. Okay, so in the low lunge, you've been here many times. In the low lunge, so lengthening back, reaching into the ground. Let's inhale and rise. Arms in any position. Inhale the arms out. Exhale to plank pose. In your plank pose, use the inner thighs to help support you. Draw the abdominal organs up to meet the front of the spine. Exhale, lightly touch the knees down and the chest. Inhale, cobra pose. Exhale, lower. Inhale, all fours. Exhale, downward facing dog. So downward facing dog gives you that opportunity to connect again to the ground. Because you're taking this time to go to really reach from the shoulder blades to the upper arms, to the finger pads, knuckles, to lengthen the spine. And the whole time to touch into the movement of the breath. And so there's another inhale. And then on your next exhale, step the right foot forward. Finding the ground, even though it can be ever shifting, just like the sand under our feet, it can be ever shifting. How do we stay connected? Inhale upright. Arms in where the position that feels most conducive for you right now. The gaze as well. Is it down? Is it straight ahead? Or is it up? Inhale the arms out. Bow forward. Inhale, step forward. And exhale, fold. Inhale halfway. And exhale, bow. One more time, halfway up, inhale. And exhale, fold down. Let's inhale, rise all the way up, arms overhead. And exhale your hands back in front of your heart. All right, we're gonna go through one more sun salutation. And on this one, we might take the back knee to the ground. So you might want to know where your blanket is. If you want to pad that knee when we go back there. All right, and then when you're ready, let's inhale back up. Urdhva Hastasana, upward hands. Connecting to the breath, exhale, bow forward. The inhale halfway. Exhale, downward facing dog or puppy. Inhale, pick up the right leg. Exhale, the right foot forward, the whole length of the exhale. Inhaling there in your lunge. Exhale, so you might grab your blanket, Bring the back knee down. You might relax the top of the back foot. If you don't have blocks, let's bring blocks in. Let's go back to the breath. Okay. With the next exhale, can you let the pubic bone on the right side come away from the right inner thigh? Let's take the blocks tall to add a little more length to the front of the left hip. But I'm not going to just hang on the ligaments at the front of that hip. I'm going to add a little tone at the front of the left hip, just slightly, between the pubic bone and that inner hip joint. Lift through the heart, base of the skull. The horizon, are you looking at the horizon again? And then release that. Bring your front foot back and let's step back, downward facing dog again. Or puppy pose. See if you can drop back into the rhythm of your breathing. Another deep inhale and a complete exhale. And then your next inhale, lift the left leg up. And exhale, left foot forward. Let's lower the back knee. Release the pubic bone on the left, away from the front left inner thigh. Draw the blocks back. Lift through the top of the breastbone. A little tone between the right pubic bone and the right hip joint, inner hip. But I can still, how do I support myself? How do the banks of the river support the river? So right now, where do I shore up a little? Right between the pubic bone and the inner hip joint? How does that feel to know, like, oh, I can offer that support? And then we're gonna exhale, release that. Step back, one more time, either puppy or downward facing dog. And your next inhale, walk your hands toward your feet. And then shift them up to your hips. And inhale, come up. Exhale, your hands back in front of your heart. And even now, just want you to drop in and see if you can still get a sense of, like, if you were on the river or when you're standing somewhere, and the support along the shore with the trees, or your tribe, your family, the support you have, your friends. All those things that offer that the banks of the river, so you're not completely flooding out as you go to enter, say, into the ocean, or moving forward, which is the only direction we can go. And then let's release that. Okay. Move your blanket out of the way. And I want to do half moon. Half moon. So let's see, Poya, we could do it a couple different ways. But let's take it right now. We're going to have 2 blocks. I'm going to go in sideways. If I was going forward ways, my 2 blocks. The inner edge of the blocks would kind of line up with the outer edge of my foot, little toe. Yeah, and my blocks are ways away from me. I'm gonna go sideways because I just think it's easier for you. In case you're looking. The blocks are basically like the length of my spine almost, right? From my hips to my shoulders. All right, that's where they are. Okay, let's inhale, lift both arms. Exhale, bow forward. So there's your forward fold. The hands might just touch the feet or the ground. You're gonna inhale halfway. You can come up to the blocks. All right, so can you shift the weight into your right leg? As you shift into the right leg and you start to take the left foot back a little, draw that greater trochanter on the standing leg toward the inside. Lift the back leg up and then reach the back leg away from the pelvis. So right there, you probably already got some length. And then you might take the left hand away from that support. Standing leg is steady, strong. Lifted leg is also very strong. Reaching out. I like to reach out the ball of the foot on the lifted leg. And I hear a crow, it's cheering. Then you're gonna turn back towards the ground. And you lower your hand, you lower your leg. And there you are. And you can bend the elbows and bow. And then inhale halfway. Exhale, second side, shifting the weight to the left leg, lifting the back leg. And right there, you're gonna start reaching actively into the ground and from the pelvis of the thigh away from the pelvis on the lifted leg. Take your time. When you're ready, we'll meet back in a forward fold Uttanasana. Inhale halfway up. And exhale, bow forward. Shaking the head, no or yes. And then let's inhale, come all the way up. Exhale your hands back in front of your heart. And then releasing out. All right. So we're going to come down to the floor for a little front of the hip opener. If you want to pad the ground, you could, depending on what your setup's like. You're welcome to make more padding. All right. Now, when you come down to the ground, let me just make sure this is okay. You're gonna lie down on your back with the knees bent, feet on the floor to start. And then let's take your left heel toward the right sit bone and releasing that. So we're opening the front of the left hip. I actually have my right hand on my left foot, and you might reach your left arm overhead. And we know also, even before the river ever meets the ocean, oftentimes the river can get wide and more tranquil. It's moving, but it really can. There's not any waves. It's just really smooth. So I like to just kind of notice in that space at the front of the left hip, am I able to release that space in the belly and also between that hip point and the greater trochanter over there? Can I soften through that area? Okay, let's check the other side. So right foot, the heel comes towards the left sit bone. And then I'm going to take my right arm and just rest it overhead comfortably. You stay connected to your breathing. That deep breathing as you just take that moment. We don't know what is the direction I'm moving. All right, and then release that side. Roll over to one side, come back up to sitting. And then let's take this and bring it to a supported bridge. So you might use a blanket to go underneath the shoulders. The head will still be on the ground. You don't have to use a blanket, it's just an option. Oh, let's have our blocks available because we're going to do supported bridge. And let's have a strap because it makes it easier to oftentimes lift at the front of the heart to get that space open. So the size of the strap, maybe a little narrower than the arm bones are though. Alrighty. And so you're going to come down onto if you're using a blanket, remember it's only to support the shoulders, not the head, and only the very base of the neck. We're going to press into both feet and take 1 and maybe 2 blocks. See how that is? I like to just try that on for a moment. And once again, notice the space in the belly. At the front of the hip. See how that feels. You could either, make a slight change. If this is too high, you could drop down a level. You could use a blanket if the second block is too much height. You could stick another blanket between. Otherwise, you might feel like, oh, I think I want this slightly taller for some of you. But only if that feels like, yeah, that feels right. Okay, so we have to really listen. Listen to your body. Then the strap goes beyond your blocks. I'm gonna put my hands in the strap. Feet are parallel. And, I want to have my heels under my knees, my shins vertical. Obviously, I cannot see them, but I can get a sense, hopefully. Am I able to lengthen down through my inner thighs to my knees and to my heels? And then pressing out on the strap, lifting at the top of the breastbone, broadening across the collarbones. So I might be happy just working here in this supported bridge. The gaze being, excuse me, toward the heart. No weight on the neck. I might bring one leg up and then the other. That might feel right to just do a supported, modified shoulder stand. All right, and then if the legs are up, we'll bend the knees, bring the feet to the floor, hands out of the strap. We'll remove one block if we have two, or one blanket if we added a blanket there, and just rest on that second block for a moment. Then you're going to pick up the pelvis again. If you still have a block under it, move the block and either shift your hips toward the blanket or the blanket toward the hips so that you're lying on the ground still. Arms can go into like a cactus shape. All right, great. And then you're going to roll over to one side. Use the arms to push yourself up. Okay. All right. Let's take a seat on your blanket. Actually, let's actually sit up on a block. That'll be good. Sit up on one of your blocks. And you're gonna bring your right heel towards your left sit bone. So that thigh kind of comes towards midline. Your left foot could stay on the same side, or you might shift it over. You don't have to have the big toe of that shifted over foot on the ground. That big toe can be floaty now. You'll need another block to go off to your left. And so you're twisting to the left. So left hand behind you on a block. And once again, I can put my awareness into that space between the upper hip point and the greater toe canter. And I can just notice, oh, can I soften from the skin to the bone? All right, and then let's come back to center. And let's do the other side. So foot could either cross over or not. Right hand's gonna be behind you. Left hand can just come across to that outer knee. Or you can try the outer elbow. I kind of like just holding that. And putting your felt sense in that space from on the right side, ASIS, to the greater toe canter. From the skin all the way to the bone, how do I let go? Okay, and then we'll release that. All right, can we go back to Baddha Konasana again, where we were at the beginning? So you can grab your little stack that you had at the beginning, or you can sit on 2 blocks end to end with a blanket on that. I'm gonna go back to what I had at the beginning. And just coming back to that place where we started. I just want to notice what that space is like between that whole inner groin to inner knee. And once again, I'm going to go to my outer knees. Put a little slack into the outer knee and just a little tone to the inner knee. Where is the center of the pelvis? Can you lengthen up from there? All right. Okay, then we'll take the hands under the knees, bring them back together. And let's take one more pose on the ground. I like to pad my mat with a blanket again. You're going to be lying down. Let's lie down on your left side. Left side down, we're going to take Anatasana. This is the serpent pose, the serpent lying on the couch. When you lie down and you take your left elbow out and you take your left hand to cup the back of your skull. All right, you're gonna bring your, now you might need a strap, strap, because you're gonna bend the right knee, and you can take a strap around the right foot and then take the right leg up. Now you're gonna want tone at the inner left thigh. The leg on the ground is toned. Because I'm gonna lengthen the back body. I'm gonna lengthen base of my skull through my low back, the back of the right hip and glute. Inner thigh is toned toward the inseam of the inner leg. Notice if you find yourself trying to like lift your chin, let the back of the neck be long. So the gaze is actually more towards the belly. All right, that's good. Let's release that and go to the other side. Roll over to your other side. So right leg is straight, hand cups base of the skull. Right leg is straight, take the strap around the left foot, reach the left leg up, gaze toward the belly, and tone the right inner thigh. If you can touch, if you can hold the foot with the big toe, that's fine as well. Back body is broadening all the way from the base of the skull, back of the pelvis, back of the left leg. That's all releasing. As it releases though, if I don't have the tone at the right inner thigh, I might fall over. Strong on the bottom leg. Great. All right, you're going to take one more breath there, one more inhale. Lounging on the beach right now. And then releasing. Roll onto your back. Bring the knees up. Inhale them an arm's length away. Exhale them in. And do that 2 more times before coming down to Shavasana. Whatever is a comfortable resting place. It is said that before entering the sea, a river trembles with fear. She looks back at the path she has traveled from the peaks of the mountains, the long winding road crossing forests and villages. And in front of her, she sees an ocean so vast that to enter, there seems nothing more than to disappear forever. But there is no other way. The river cannot go back. Nobody can go back. To go back is impossible in existence. The river needs to take the risk of entering the ocean, because only then will fear disappear. Because that's where the river will know. It's not about disappearing into the ocean, but becoming the ocean. Allow your breath to deepen. Begin to awaken your body to movement. And make a mindful transition over to one side. And use the support of your arms to come back up to a comfortable seat. Once you're back in a comfortable seat, and I want to invite you to practice the B breath. So if you'll take your hands up, resting the thumbs, in a moment the thumbs are going to plug the ears. You're going to take, and you'll rest all the other hands, just be resting on the skull. This is pratyahara, so it's really drawing the senses all in. And if you'll do like 3 breaths, where the inhale through the nose and the exhale, you're humming, and feel, and the ears are plugged with your thumbs. So whenever you're ready, take the hands up, rest the fingers on the skull, inhale deeply, and you're going to do 3 breaths like this. When you bring your hands away from the head and just rest them in your lap. And draw your attention to the breath as it comes in through both nostrils, and where the air joins together at the back of those nostrils. And then bring your attention up towards the third eye. It's in the skull. It goes back in the skull a couple inches, back into that space. Keep your attention there. Bring your hands in front of your heart. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.